Welcome to another episode of the Electric SuperCar channel. Today we're going to tell you all about battery boxes, especially this one. Battery boxes are really just an enclosure to hold all the cells and modules, as well as any bus bars, to contain all the energy to drive the cars we make. It may sound easy, but every car has a different shape and we need to kind of get the batteries in that shape. We often need to cool them as well. There's cell taps, thermistors, fuses, all those connections have to come in and out of the battery box as well. So this all has to be planned. We have to make exact cutouts for where all these plugs and cooling fittings will go. So that's what we're doing today. Let's get to it. So we are doing this for basically every car we're doing. Today we're going to walk you through this specific set, and this one comes from Amp Revolt, and this is a set that is specifically made for Tesla modules. So this pack is going to go into our Jeep build. Let me show you all the things we needed to do to get to this point. So we've got some special materials here for a battery box for the Jeep. So let's open it up, see what we got. So I got out all the aluminum pieces. Again, they look really good. They've also got clear hard anodized coating, and I actually put the first thing together, so I'm now going to show you how to put one together. So it does have good instructions, kind of highlights the pieces and anything that you need to take note of. So by the way, if you're just doing one, it says that this is all I would need and go to the next step. But I've got a battery pack that I'm doing two, so. All right, so in theory, I think that should be two sides. So then you can get a battery in the middle. So that's what we need for a stack that's too high for the batteries. So it looks like the last step to finish these out is a cap like that, is that right? There, now that's a finished one. It's got one more here to do. All right, so I got these ones done. These are right side. So I did it twice thinking that maybe they were symmetrical, but they're not. So they're both right sides. Now that's okay because I've got a box that's 2 by 2 in the back, so meaning 2 high by 2 wide. So these will be both right-hand sides for that one. So now we'll do left side. So we now have right and left sides. I've actually put one of these together. So I'll show you how we did that. Bottom frame and a top frame like this, and the sides get bolted on. So we'll show you how that goes. Here are the two large battery boxes. These are going to go in the front of the Jeep, and then these are the two smaller ones, and they're actually going to go back kind of under where the spare tire is. So they're both going to be kind of side-by-side configurations. So we're going to start working on these modules. In order to put them in their battery boxes, we have to just clip off just these edges here. So the next step is these gray caps and then these kind of side covers. I guess one more thing we need to do before we start loading these up is these are side-by-side configurations, and they come with these kind of inserts that you put in here, and then like these come together, and so that really helps take some of the vertical load. We've got some fasteners that will fasten them together. There's actually one step before we do that. It's got to figure out where the pass-throughs are going to be. So for both like battery cell tap wires, as well as like the bus bars between the two. So we got one box loaded up. So it is tight, but everything fits really well. These little end caps, they go on the module when you slide them in, just so I think these are a little harder and designed to kind of take any sort of impact. So on the sides here, they're close fit, but like here, it's like, it doesn't go in, it's like stuck. So there's just enough tolerant stack, I'm sure when I was putting things together, that they'll slide in easy in some and then get stuck in others. For today's sponsor, we have Wolfbox. This is a G900 Pro Smart Mirror Dash Cam. It uses the Starvis 2 IMX678 sensor, so your nighttime driving looks sharp, no more blurry footage under dim lights. It shows both front and back views on a 12-inch IPS touchscreen. I'm excited for this one. It's like a rear view mirror, and it's got a front-facing camera, and then obviously got one in the back, so this will be showing the rear-facing camera. Front camera is in 4K, rear in 2.5K, so you get clear shots from both sides. Man, that is a good looking display. It's got your time and date. Again, this one's the front-facing one we've got working now. And then this whole front screen is touchscreen. So if you touch it, it brings up kind of all the things that you can get into. That was the voice control. So if you say, take a picture, it takes a picture. You can go into the pictures that we took. Look at those wonderful pictures. And again, it tells you that it's the front dash cam. It's got exposure, screen brightness, screensaver, display modes, 4K at 30 frames per second. All right, here we go. We're gonna add device. All right, we are connected. It's got sound recording, off or on, speaker volume. The rear view camera is waterproof, can be mounted inside or outside, and has a reverse assist with swipe adjustable parking lines. So it's even got the lines to help you park. This one's actually going on a big van with limited visibility in the rear, so this is actually gonna help a ton. Most of the time it's going full width. This is kind of like full height. That's nice. With 5.8 gigahertz Wi-Fi, you can transfer videos super fast to your phone and use the app to review your journey. It also has a GPS antenna, so you get speed, location, and route tracking in your video. It records exactly where you were. Parking monitoring keeps watch even when you're not in the car. Loop recording makes sure no moment is missed. The G sensor locks recordings when there's a collision. It comes with a memory card included. Big cable set, rear camera, charger, everything in the box. One piece of equipment giving you front, back, and smart safety all the time. If you haven't upgraded your mirror dash cam yet, now's the time to get the Wolfbox G900 Pro and drive with confidence. So along with the batteries, we've got these, which are cell tap boards. So these are to replace the cell tap boards that are actually on the modules themselves. So these are the ones that are on the Tesla, and these have a lot more electronics and things in them, so you can't just tap into these. There are a couple companies that make these boards. I got mine from Amp Revolt. So we'll go ahead and swap out the boards. You do need to be careful because as you pull off the connectors, this is just a fragile ribbon cable. And if you kind of tug it or snap it, again, those will break, and then your whole battery module kind of doesn't have some of those key connections. I am about halfway through replacing all these boards. So I figure I should stop and show you what I'm doing to each one to document it for myself and for anybody else that might be doing this. I'm gonna go through some steps. First, I'll take off the capped on tape here, and this is not reusable, meaning it's like not sticky anymore. Then there's this plug here. Now this plug can just be clipped. You might think like, oh my gosh, but these are communication wires, not actual voltage wires. This is for Tesla Model S 100 kilowatt hour pack, so I'm not sure for all the other ones. I'll show you a close-up of how we get this one undone. All right, so the key to this one, and sometimes I'll even pop this up to give me a little more room. This is the plastic top, but right here, basically you have to kind of push that one back. Once that's pushed back, then you can pull up on the connector. I usually just use another plastic pry tool right here to kind of help me pry it up. There we go. And really what we're going for is these two guys right here. So this one can also fold down. I'm just looking to take these two off. I found the best just to get these needle nose pliers and pull. So these ones come off. And you want to save them because you're going to put them back in. The other thing I would recommend, so the way you can mess these up is there's a ribbon cable right here. And this is kind of the most important part. That takes all your cell voltages and puts it right there. And so if you pull these out, if it's especially abrupt, it can actually dislodge from the module and it can go with the board, and then you can yank it and basically it'll rip that ribbon cable, and then you don't have access to any of your cell voltages. So what I'd recommend is kind of put a finger here, just so when you pull it out, you're not pulling the board with you, because some of these can be abrupt. Each module is only about 24 volts, depending on how much it's charged. So again, not super dangerous, but always want to be careful. Again, I like to have the plastic on top because these are like the cell groups. So if you laid like a metal tool across here, that would be bad news. So at this point, I usually like to flip the module over. It'd probably be best to do this with a friend because they're 55 pounds each. All right, so once it's upside down, very similar thing. So there's some tape, some double-sided tape on the corners. So sometimes if you're trying to lift the plastic up and you can't figure out why, it's because there's tape right here. Same story here. All right, so the board is no longer tethered. Well, I should say it's only tethered by the wires. The reason you can't pull it out is there are 3 plugs. So there's one top and bottom, and then so that's got your cell taps, and then there's a thermistor one on this side. It is somewhat challenging to get these, so I gotta show you how I do it. So I just got a pick tool, and basically I'm just reaching back behind here, and there's a clip that we prop up. That's all it is, and then this guy comes up. Again, I like to kind of twist rather than just yank up, again, because I don't have any abrupt movements. You can maybe see that better now, but it's just that clip on the back that needs to be pressed out. So now here's this one. This one you just press down, and then you saw it kind of pop off. And then this is the thermistor off. So we just have the one more here at the bottom. So I've just got, again, another little plastic wedge. So there it is, and then this one's off. So basically this is the thermistor connector. This was the output, again, communication, and these were kind of cell taps in. All right, we're replacing it with this one. This is where the cell taps go in, and this is they're just traces that go straight to here. So this is cell taps out. So you have to be careful because the previous plug, again, you could clip wires here, but not this one. This one's actual cell taps. So you just gotta be careful. You don't bridge anything because you will short out the ribbon cables or the fuse wires, and then your battery will not be able to have any cell taps anymore. It's even got a little pinout for you so you don't ever have to forget. So similar thing in reverse, you just don't have to be quite as careful. So I usually do the thermistor first. I'll usually then put in these guys. And then I'll put this guy on. You want to make sure it clicks. And then I flip the battery over into the other side. So again, on this side, put these guys back in. And then the last thing is we clip this guy on. Then I usually like to replace the Kapton tape. Just like that, all replaced, ready to go.
All right, we're working on the Jeep battery boxes. Done a few things off camera. I used a hole saw to drill through the 2 battery boxes that are to be joined here. This will basically provide us a path from terminal to the other battery that'll be in here. I also drilled these out. These will be for like BMS and low voltage wires, and this will be the inter-pack high voltage line to the fuse. So this will go through here and join up with the other one, come out to the motor. I did the same thing on the smaller pack that's gonna go in the rear. Same thing here and there. Next we need to weld up the battery box support. The one I'm welding is the front. Braden designed it and we got it cut out. Yeah, so we're just gonna place it on top of this one for now because they're essentially the same kind of battery box. So we'll use the same bolt pattern and everything. Use this because it's empty. Throw it on top, tack it in place, and then finish welding it on the welding table. All right, we got this battery box support all welded up. This is what's gonna hold these battery boxes here. We've already test fit. They fit, but very snugly. Now what we've gotta do is weld in this support plate here, battery box bolts to. We're gonna weld this plate in across the original motor mounts, but first I've got to actually cut them down a little bit so that this lays flat, and then we'll weld it in here. This one gets cut down quite a bit. This one only a little. Basically these aren't level left to right or front to back. So I'm gonna use my angle finder and get this as level as I can. I ground these down so that we have a flat surface to weld the plate on. The bottom plate that is here. That'll get welded to the vehicle and then we can bolt it all in. I'll throw this in there and then we've got some supports. We're gonna do some test fitting and we're just gonna set it down on that cross member. And then we've got these guys that are bolted in, and then we have some gussets that go to some brackets that are bolted in here. So wish me luck. See if this goes in. So there's a few issues. AC line needs to be bent more so we can clear that. We also need to get the battery box a little further forward. Encountered a few other problems with the battery mounts, but I'm just gonna weld it all in. It won't be a problem. It bolts to the carriage. But I'm gonna have to pull this back out so that I can get that work done. And then we're gonna try this again. I took the AC line and finished bending it to get it enough out of the way of the box. Now we've got enough clearance between this AC line that goes into the evap, the whole bottom plate tacked in place so that I can get the front supports and the rear supports also welded in place. I got these front mounts tacked in place. They bolt into the cradle here and then bolt to the subframe cross member there. Pretty well triangulated between the front mounts and the rear mounts. I welded them to the tacked into the cross member and then tacked into this plate here. So everything will unbolt with those four and these four here, and then the cradle will come out and it'll leave all the mounts behind. And then this stays as well, and then these unbolt. So, all right, battery box is back in the Jeep. We did have to paint everything. So the cradle got painted. These supports got painted, the rear got painted. I had to put the first two modules in. First one had to go in before the cradle. We couldn't clear this. And this one needed to go in because we couldn't clear the bumper. So I got those sitting in there. Everything's bolted up. And now we've got some manifolds that need to be installed. These are going in here. I drilled these holes out before paint. We just popped these guys in, into there. These sit in there. You got a little furl in there that seals it all up. Start installing these, and then we'll get the rest of the battery modules in before we put the manifolds in. All right, so after getting the battery modules installed, and then we're able to get the manifolds in. But for the most part, it's pretty on point. These just sit in a nice little recess here. Goes down, that's a compression fitting, little brass ferrule that gets crushed onto this aluminum to make a seal. And then on the bottom, we got these guys that's just a barb that we'll hook up the hose with. So those are the four manifolds in, and then all we're doing is putting the modules in series. So one module you got in, and then it'll come out here, wrap over to this side. We've got some other fittings and hoses to go there, and then out of here and into the manifold and out. So in, out, in series. So it's looking pretty good. We're gonna do some fine tuning on the hoses. Check it out. I got the hoses all installed. Had to do some fine tuning on the lengths from the manifold to the modules, but now all the lengths are good. They're in place. And I also installed, I don't know what you want to call that, intermediate tube to go from one side of the module to the other. Basically the fluid will come into this manifold, into this side of the module, go through the ribbons, then come out of this side of the module, cross over to this half, go in, go through the ribbons, then come out, go through and into the manifold and out of the barb on the bottom. So we'll have to Y the two battery boxes down here where the barbs are, and also Y it to rear battery box that we're still working on. This is what it looks like right now. I think it looks pretty sweet. Put a lot of hoses in the Jeep right now. About to do a little bit of management, getting them up secured in place. Right here we've got, this is the battery inlet and outlets, and then this is the motor pump. So pump to the motor, then out of the motor, into the DC to DC and OVC, out of there and all the way back up and up there to the top of the radiator. These battery lines, these are 7/16 lines. We've got a 1/2 inch line feeding it into a Y to the 7/16, and then those come back to a Y from 3/4. So a lot of Ys, but yeah, I've got these in place, gonna secure them on here. Should turn out pretty good. I'm just gonna get all these up out of the way, and then these ones will be for the rear battery box. So we're making some good progress on the cooling. Okay, so there's the motor and charger return line secured to the body, but we've got that D-clamp in place. That's nice and secure. We just got an order from Oshkosh, got us some really nice aluminum pieces. I've already installed one of these on the Jeep, but this is a pump strap, a pump mount that I designed. Essentially the pump gets held in these two pieces, a bolt goes through here, and then you can mount it wherever you want. This one is going to be the battery box pump, so it's going to come in here and mount to the battery box. The other one, this is for the motor. It's already mounted to the radiator, and that strap is clamping it together, and then it's mounted to the frame under here. So it's a pretty good solution. I like using this more than, you know, the stock rubber mount, I guess. So it works really well. I'm really happy with it. So now it'll be time to mount the battery pump. We do have everything in now. There's the pump down there. It goes directly into the chiller block, out of the chiller block, down to the Ys that I installed the other day, and then to each battery and back. And then up to here, the inlet of the pump. So now we've got the pump mount in. It's bolted to the battery box. All the hose clamps are on. And I also added this bleeder valve to the inlet of the pump. It tees up here and is the motor overflow, and then it tees into both lines and goes to the expansion tank. So it'll never run out of fluid. This will basically just make it easier to bleed though. That's nearly all the cooling done. We just got to install the rear battery and hook up those cooling lines.
All right, so that is a pretty cool battery box. We got everything mounted. We've got a lot of the cooling done. Still need to put those bus bars together and make some of those final connections so we can get the motor moving. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.